Hey guys, welcome back! We're learning something new today! Fiberglassing! Right after we finish some grinding and do a little more tear out. After we removed all the through holes, you can click the link if you want to see how and why we did, we had a bunch of holes, 16 to be precise, to fill in. Before we can start fixing them though, we have some grinding to do. We had to tear out a lot of stuff to get rid of the rot, so Stratego's hole is almost all exposed. We're hoping to grind all of it to clean it up, and then at some point paint and add some insulation. We already removed all the wiring, so it's all wide open space. First up, Ross's cabin. This room and the main head were in the best condition. We were able to leave the cabinet structure as well as his future berth. Across from his berth is the workshop. You can't see it because the doors, drawers, and cabinet doors are safely tucked away in storage, but the door to this tiny one-person standing room only space has a sign that says workshop. You can see how little it is when Mike is inside. From there, it's on to the forward cabin. We had to tear out literally everything in that space, so it looks like a V-shaped room with ribs on the walls. It's not very big and didn't take long to finish. He moved on to port side of midship next. This side used to have a beautiful desk and a seat. We're planning on replacing it with one long desk. That one little cabinet we left untouched on the wall is the breaker box, and those are the stairs leading up to the pilot house. Starboard side of midship shares a wall with Ross's cabin. This is where that wonderful settee was that we ended up having to tear out. You can see a lot of what we ended up tearing out of Stratego in 2 videos. You can click the link if you'd like to watch them. The bulkhead that makes up the wall between starboard midship and the pilot house was really rotted along the hull. That's why there's such a huge gap here. It sort of looks more like a strip than a wall right now. Finally done with the front half of Stratego, moving back aft to now. This area right here should actually be a bulkhead, separating the pilot house from the aft cabin. Mike is directly under the companionway, the doorway to get down into Stratego. It leaked so much here over the years that it finally rotted the bulkhead out. This strip right here is what's left of the bulkhead after we removed it. You can see just how rotted it was by how easily he's scraping it out. That fiberglass tabbing is what holds the bulkhead to the hull. We're going to get a lot of experience with tabbing soon though as we put the new bulkheads in. This is the view standing in the aft cabin looking into the pilot house. The pilot house has 2 steps down into our aft cabin, and that stretch on the right is where the galley goes. That piece of plywood is where we place the ladder we use to get in and out. Once all the rotted wood is out, it's time to cut out the tabbing, and after all that's out, it's back to grinding. He's sitting where we usually place the ladder you see there on the left, and that entire stretch on the left will hopefully soon be a complete galley with cabinets, a stove, and a sink. We tore out a bunch of stuff already, but we found some more rot in the aft cabin. So, we're taking a break from grinding to do a little more tear out. We thought all we had left to do in here was remove the stringers, but it looks like the inside layer of this section here is rotted, so we decided to remove all of it. It looks like a patchwork quilt made out of wood blocks underneath it.
Well guys, it is a hot one here in Southern Maryland, but we're not going to let that stop us, and this evening, we're going to be working in the aft cabin. We're going to be removing these stringers that run overhead here, and the reason being is because they are rotted. Some of them have already voluntarily fell out. We're going to make some new stringers for this area over at the wood shop. We'll be milling up some Douglas fir and making some new stringers for this aft cabin area.
But first, removing the old ones. The upside of the amount of rot is it makes it easier to remove them. Thanks to the one stringer that already fell out, we just have 5 left to remove. Those didn't take too long. Some were more rotted than others, and once they were out, we set aside the stringers we removed. The coach roof here is slightly arched. We decided it would be best to save the old ones to use as templates rather than trying to make new ones without them. Removing the stringers gave easy access to the remaining rutted area on the coach roof. This little area is where the aft head was. We were planning on keeping it, but the original berth wasn't very big.
Whew, it is a hot tamale.
What a mess! We're missing a tiny section of floor here that we need to replace at some point. It does give you a tiny peek into the bilge.
Hi.
More demolition with an apparently not so rotted piece. It's kind of happy on there. Watch your toes!
Hi.
And if one tool isn't effective enough, get another one. After all the big stuff is out, we just need to clean up all the bits and stuff still stuck on. Ross stepped in and attacked it. He was attacking it so well, Mike was a little worried he was going to be hit with a flying tool if Ross lost his grip.
What? I say, yeah. Oh, please don't hit me with that too. Don't let it fly out of your hand.
No problem. Ross got the entire ceiling scraped clean and no dads or anyone else were harmed in the process. On to the last part we have to tear out in the aft cabin. This is the port side and Mike is standing where our berth will be. Everything in the aft cabin has been a challenge. You saw the narrow strip of floor. It's about a foot wide. The hole has a more gentle shape back here than in midship, but it still slopes and there's space between the hole and the floor which floats above it. If you aren't careful, you can step right next to the floor and your foot will slide right into the bilge. It's narrow and only about 12 to 18 inches deep there, but still not a good idea. The slope of the hole also makes it hard to stand. Between it all, it's a constant balancing act. We didn't let it stop us though. We're going to get everything torn out we need to so we can get her put back together right. Everything on a boat is structural, so even the part he's cutting out here will need to be replaced. This is a high traffic area too, since that's part of the deck between the companionway and the cockpit. Anyone coming down into Stratego or leaving will be walking over that area. This space was 2 hanging closets with a stack of drawers in between. We will probably replace it with something similar. In addition to doing a quick grinding, Mike is also knocking off the old fiberglass tabbing from previous bulkheads and things that were built into Stratego in the closet. This is the very aft end of Stratego. Mike is under the cockpit floor here. We removed the bulkhead here as well. Originally this section was a mix of a cabinet, access, drawers, and the end of a berth. Our berth. This is also where the inside part of the rudder is, and where the propeller shaft comes in. The suit Mike is wearing is a fresh air supply suit he designed with a good friend back in our spray foam days. The suit protected Mike from the worst of the fiberglass grinding, but we still got it all over us while cleaning up the aftermath. We have vacuumed Stratego multiple times and we're still finding more fiberglass. We removed all the through holes, but some of the blocks were still firmly attached to the hole. A crowbar or hammer got rid of those. Each through hole also needed to be ground out so the fiberglass could be fixed correctly. This particular spot is where the aft head was. Everything was going along smoothly until... Ouch! The grinder slipped and took a chunk out of his finger. When I said we put blood, sweat, and tears into this project, here's an example. We made it to the repair phase. For this, we had some expert help because, like most things on this project, we're learning as we go. The outside of each hole was already filled in from the outside, so we just had the inside halves to finish. First, he cut concentric circles of our fiberglass mat, mixed up some vinyl ester resin with MEKP as the catalyst, and started fixing these holes. Each piece of fiberglass needs to be saturated with the resin. It starts out white, but as more resin is applied, and it gets thoroughly saturated, it turns more translucent. Once a few circles of mat were secured in place, it was time for the chop. This also needs to be saturated, so they poured the vinyl ester resin over it and worked it in. Stratego's hole is about 1 inch to 1.5 inches thick, and we're filling it about half that depth. That was the demonstration hole to show Mike how to do it. Then it's Mike's turn to do one. He cut all the layers in concentric circles and dry fitted them. Then he saturated each layer in the vinyl ester resin and started placing them in. The catalyst we used, methyl ethyl ketone peroxide, but usually just called MEKP, is an unstable organic peroxide. In addition to the possibility of severe respiratory distress, it can melt your eyeballs. Make sure you wear proper PPE if you ever use it. A little chop, a lot of resin, more chop, more resin, work it in, and just like that, Mike finished his first fiberglass hole repair patch. 2 holes down, 14 more to go. We used 2 fiberglass mats for this project. 1708 is a biaxial fiberglass mat with the fibers woven at about a 45-degree angle to each other and has a matte backing. It's often sold on a roll, either by the pound or yard. 1708 easily forms around bends and curves, but doesn't have as much panel strength. 1808 is also a biaxial fiberglass mat, but the fibers are woven at a 90-degree angle to each other. It is sold the same as 1708, but is better for flat or gently contoured surfaces. This was the smelliest project we've done yet, and it took days to air out Stratego each time we glassed. But we got them all filled in, and now we're on to the next step.
If you have enjoyed this video and would like to see more cool content like this, then be sure to smash the subscribe button, leave a like on this video, and make a comment. We love to hear from you and it helps our channel grow.
Thanks for watching!